You don't lack discipline. You keep negotiating with yourself. And every time you negotiate, you lose. That's the whole game. Not motivation, not habits, not some missing trait you were born without. You say you want to learn how to build discipline. But what you're actually doing is waiting to feel like it. And that's why nothing sticks. If you've ever said, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'm just not feeling it today," or "I need to get in the right mindset first," this is going to hit. Because by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why you feel like you lack discipline, and what it actually takes to become someone who has it, not in theory, in behavior. Here's the truth most people avoid. Discipline is not something you build, it's something you enforce. And right now, you don't enforce anything. You suggest, you hope, you negotiate. You say, "I should work out today." Then your brain says, "You're tired," and you listen. That's not a discipline problem, that's a standard problem. Because if it were truly a standard, there would be no conversation. Think about that. There are things in your life you don't negotiate. You don't feel like stopping at red lights. You don't wait for motivation to show up to pay your bills. You just do it. Why? Because there are consequences. Because it's non-negotiable. That's what discipline actually is. A behavior that happens regardless of how you feel. So when you ask, "How do I stay disciplined?" you're asking the wrong question. The real question is, what have I made non-negotiable? And for most people, the answer is nothing. That's why you keep falling off. Not because you're weak, because everything is optional. And optional things don't get done consistently. They get done when it's convenient. And your life is being built on what's convenient. Let's go deeper. Your brain is wired to avoid discomfort. That's not a flaw, that's survival. But in modern life, that wiring works against you, because the things that actually move your life forward are uncomfortable. So your brain offers you an out. Skip today. Start tomorrow. Do it when you're ready. And because you haven't set a hard standard, you take the out. Every time. And every time you do, you reinforce the same identity. I don't follow through. That's the real damage. Not the missed workout. Not the skipped task. The identity. Because once you start seeing yourself that way, everything else follows. You hesitate more. You trust yourself less. You lower your expectations. And now you're stuck asking, why do I lack discipline? You don't. You lack enforcement. There's a difference. One is emotional. The other is behavioral. And behavior is where this gets fixed. Here's the shift. You stop trying to feel disciplined, and you start acting in a way that requires no feeling at all. You remove the option completely. You decide ahead of time. This gets done, no matter what. Not based on mood, not based on energy, not based on whether the day went well. It gets done, because you said it would. That's it. And yes, your brain will push back. It will look for loopholes. It will try to renegotiate. That's the moment that matters. Not when it's easy, when it's inconvenient, when you don't feel like it, when everything in you says, skip it. That's where discipline is built, not in intensity, in refusal. Refusal to break your own standard. Let's make this real. You don't need a perfect routine. You don't need a life overhaul. You need one rule. One. Something small enough that you can execute it every day, no matter what. And once you choose it, you lock it in. No negotiation. No exceptions. No, I'll make up for it tomorrow. You do it. Daily. And at first, it's going to feel stupid. Too easy. Too small. Good. That means you'll actually do it. Because the goal isn't to impress yourself. It's to rebuild trust. Every time you follow through, you send a signal: I do what I say. And that signal compounds, faster than motivation ever could. Because motivation fades, standards don't. Second, you stop tying discipline to outcomes. You don't need to feel productive. You don't need to see results immediately. You need to execute, because results follow consistency, and consistency follows standards, not feelings. Third, you close the gap immediately. You mess up, you don't spiral. You don't restart next week. You continue. Because discipline isn't perfection, it's continuity. And most people destroy their own progress, trying to be perfect. You don't need perfect, you need relentless, quiet, boring, repeated. That's how disciplined people operate. Not louder, not more motivated, just less negotiable. So if you're sitting there thinking, I need to become more disciplined, stop. That's not the move. The move is this: pick one thing, decide it's no longer optional, and prove it. Today. Not when you feel ready, not when it's convenient. Today and tomorrow, and the day after that. Until it's not a decision anymore. It's just who you are. Don't try to impress anyone with this. Don't list 10 habits. Don't overcomplicate it. Just be honest. What's the one thing you've been treating like a suggestion that needs to become a standard? Name it. Because once you make that shift, everything else gets easier. You don't lack discipline. You've just been giving yourself too many ways out. And the moment those exits disappear, so does the version of you that kept taking them.